I'll start by saying, of course, you came up with the idea for Turbo. So what inspired you to make a film about racing snails?
Two things. My son, who's 6.5 now, but before he could even talk, he's been obsessed with all things fast, zooming his little race cars around my living room. I'd walk out into the living room in the middle of the night, step on the car, scream out in pain, typical kind of dad behavior at night. And then I'd walk into my front yard and snails would be crawling around. There was a big snail problem out there. Tomato plant that they were demolishing one tomato at a time. And so it wasn't long really before I started to think about this this character of a snail with an obsession for speed and a dream of racing glory.
And have you shown the film to your son yet? And if so, were you quite nervous about doing that?
He's seen big chunks of it now, and the premiere is in New York next week. So I'm really excited to have him see the whole thing finally.
So having made this film, have you found sort of a newfound appreciation for snails? Do you quite like them?
I definitely have a newfound sensitivity towards them. I have to say, and I think a lot of people that have worked on the movie have got similar comments that if they see one sort of in the middle of the sidewalk or in a potentially hazardous situation, they'll remove it and place it in a more safe environment.
So I suppose this completely rules out ever eating them in France now.
I wasn't a big fan of that concept to begin with, so that's not a real sacrifice for me.
Oh. I was just wondering, of course, when you sort of came up with this idea, the finished product must have seemed a million miles away, the idea that it would actually get made into a film. You must have been, did you ever envisage it? And when it happened, did you ever kind of take a step back and think, wow, I can't believe this actually happened?
Yeah, towards the end of the process, we preview the movie, and you're pushing so hard to get the thing done and make it as great as you possibly can. And then we finished this last preview and we got the numbers that we needed for the studio to be happy to just let us finish making it. And that was sort of like jarring to be told, okay, you're done, just wrap it up. Yeah. At that point, it just felt like all of a sudden within the space of about 2 months, like the circus left town and suddenly it was just me again. And it was a very strange feeling.
It must have been quite empowering also to know that this many people working kind of tirelessly on a sort of on a concept that you sort of came up with.
Yeah, and it was a wonderful crew. They really got on board with this ridiculous idea I had and made it so much better than I could have ever imagined myself. And just really proud of the work they've all done. So yeah, it's been an incredibly gratifying experience making this movie.
But were you ever quite sort of protective over it because it was obviously something that you first created?
Yeah, I explored a lot of different avenues when we were in development on the movie, and a lot of those led to dead ends or cliffs. So once I got on the path and the script had been written, or at least the first couple drafts of it, I was protective over the path that I wanted to take because I knew it to be the right path, and I just felt strongly about certain things. And it's finding that line of being a director who has a vision, and yet at the same time being open enough to accept the ideas that the crew is bringing to the table, because they are bringing excellent things to the table, and they're an incredibly skilled bunch of people.
And talking of a skilled bunch of people, the voice cast was incredible. You must be so thrilled to get the lights, not only of course Ryan Reynolds, but Paul Giamatti, Samuel Jackson, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. And we started by making a wish list of who we felt would be the absolute best choice for each part. It really had nothing to do with who was famous or not. It's just who had the best voice, who had the best personality for these characters, and just great actors all around. And one by one, they just kept saying yes. So I just kept pinching myself that I had this cast, and they were an absolute joy to work with.
Because this is your directorial debut, but you have worked in children's animation and the Madagascar franchise, the Shrek franchise, for example. Yeah. What is it about this genre that really kind of appeals to you?
There's just something about animation. It allows you to create characters that I think go on to be ultimately more iconic than many live-action movies and characters. The fact that you literally create the worlds from scratch, whether they're complete fantasy worlds or, in this case, a world modeled after our own. It's just very fulfilling seeing something literally created from nothing.
But was it always your intention to one day direct?
Yeah, I was drawing from a really young age. First, second grade, I won a contest to design a poster to encourage children to read, and my school got 100 books, and I got the privilege of winning the contest. And then from then on, I kind of knew that I there was this path that I wanted to take to draw and to tell stories, and ultimately, I'm from Toronto, so moved to California, work in animation.
And you didn't get to keep any of that $100?
100 books.
Oh, books.
Books, yeah.
I thought you said bucks.
Yeah, no. The school's library got 100 books. 100 bucks would have been way better for me. Not as good for the school, but.
So what is the future hold for you? Can you see yourself doing more directing again and more kind of movies? And have you got anything lined up, in fact?
The first thing I've lined up is a vacation. After that, I've got a lot of ideas that I've been gestating on and really kind of want to just sink my teeth into. So yeah, I'm excited to get going on the next thing.
So my final question, I suppose, is just this is a superhero movie, it's a racing movie, it's an underdog movie. I mean, there's enough in here for everyone, isn't there? And you must be absolutely thrilled with what you've created.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the movie, and I think the characters are really really memorable and charming, and yeah, I'm most happy that it's just, I think it falls in the category of these kind of classic underdog stories that I've admired growing up, and hopefully others will feel the same.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.